You've probably felt it before. Someone enters the room and says nothing. No flash, no performance, yet all eyes turn toward them, not because they demand attention, but because they don't need it. And in that silence, in that unbothered presence, there's a kind of gravity. You wonder, how do they do that? What makes people lean in, even when they say so little? Here's the paradox most people miss. The more you chase approval, the more it slips away. But when you release the need to impress, you become impossible to ignore. This isn't about manipulation, it's about magnetism. And Stoic philosophy understood this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." It's not performance that captivates others, it's authentic presence, quiet, rooted, whole, and in a world addicted to noise. That stillness, it stands out louder than any spotlight. You're not here to be loud. You're here to become undeniable. If that idea resonates, and you're someone who's tired of faking it, chasing, bending, proving, stick around. Because in this video, you'll learn 8 timeless Stoic strategies to stop trying so hard and start drawing others in just by being more of you. If that's the kind of energy you're cultivating, take a moment to subscribe, not for me, for you. Because this journey is about becoming the person who doesn't need to be followed, but still is. Number 1, the power of being unmoved. There's something disarming about a person who doesn't flinch. You know the type. Life throws its tantrums. The mood shifts, the room turns cold, the energy wavers, but they remain still, unmoved. And that stillness, it's not numbness, it's power. In a world where everyone is constantly reacting, to texts, to glances, to gossip, to algorithms, your ability to remain centered becomes your superpower. Epictetus said it best, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You're not here to control the weather. You're here to become the mountain. When someone yells, you breathe. When someone withdraws, you stay steady. When chaos spins, you don't. That kind of presence, it speaks louder than charm ever could. People feel it, they trust it, because deep down, we're all searching for something stable, something that doesn't crack under pressure. And when they find that in you, they keep coming back, like a tree that holds its ground through 1,000 storms. Your strength becomes a shelter, your energy a safe place. But ask yourself, what does it take to be that mountain? What would change if, instead of reacting, you simply responded with intention? Or didn't respond at all? Sometimes, silence is the most powerful answer, not to hurt, not to prove, but to protect your peace. And in doing so, let others orbit your gravity. Number 2, speak less, mean more. You feel it sometimes, the urge to fill the silence, to explain yourself, to make sure they understand every word, every thought, every intention. But here's the truth, no one tells you. The more you speak, the less people hear. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we may listen twice as much as we speak." There's a quiet kind of power in restraint, in choosing your words, and letting your silence do the heavy lifting. In a world drowning in opinions, endless scrolling, endless noise, your stillness becomes magnetic. Imagine 2 people standing at the edge of a forest. One talks non-stop, naming every tree. The other is silent. But when they finally speak, they say something that lands, something that sticks. Who do you remember? Who pulls your focus? Exactly. It's not about being mysterious for the sake of it. It's about honoring your words, treating them like gold, not coins to toss in every direction. People remember how you made them feel, and silence, used well, can leave an imprint deeper than any speech. So ask yourself, What if every time you opened your mouth, it was a moment of intention, not impulse? What would happen if your words became fewer, but fuller? Would they start to lean in just to hear more? Probably, because power isn't loud, it's precise. Number 3, desire nothing, radiate everything. You've been taught to chase, to lean forward, to reach out, try harder, follow up, make them like you, but the more you chase, the more they slip through your fingers. It's exhausting, isn't it? Always wondering, am I enough? Do they like me back? Did I say the right thing? But here's the Stoic truth that feels like a whisper in the noise. The less you need them, the more they're drawn to you. Lao-Tzu said, "By letting it go, it all gets done. The world is won by those who let it go." That's not apathy, it's power. It's knowing that what's meant for you won't need to be chased, only recognized, only received. Imagine a flame. It doesn't beg the moth to come near, it simply burns, and the warmth draws them in. You don't radiate by reaching, you radiate by returning to yourself, by filling the cracks within you until there's nothing leaking out, nothing begging to be filled by someone else's presence or approval. Ask yourself, what if your energy didn't ask for anything, but invited everything? What if you walked into a room, not hoping to be seen, but already knowing you are whole? That's the kind of presence people remember, not because you needed them, but because you didn't. And in that absence of need, you became undeniable. Number 4, self-containment is the new charisma. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room to be the one everyone remembers. There's a deeper kind of charisma. It's not built on performance, it's built on presence. The kind that doesn't leak energy, that doesn't constantly look outward for validation, that isn't trying to impress or charm or win people over. Seneca once wrote, "A wise man is content with himself, not in arrogance, but in inner wholeness." That's what self-containment looks like. You don't chase the room, you anchor it. Think of a candle placed in the middle of a dark room. It doesn't shout, it doesn't dance, it simply glows. And that glow, people move toward it, drawn by the steadiness, not the show. When your sense of identity comes from within, not from likes, glances, compliments, or conversations, you become rare. And what's rare becomes irresistible. Ask yourself, what parts of you still feel like they're performing? Still trying to fill a silence that scares you? Still hoping someone else will confirm that you are enough? What if you stopped outsourcing your light and became the source of it instead? That's the charisma no one can imitate. Not a trick, not a tactic, just a grounded, unwavering energy that says, "I am enough, even when I'm alone." And that kind of energy, it doesn't need to ask for attention. It naturally receives it. Number 5, calm is your loudest language. It's easy to get pulled in to the chaos, to the gossip, to the drama of people trying to provoke, perform, or prove something. But what if you didn't take the bait? What if you stood still while everything around you spun? Marcus Aurelius once said, "Be like the rock against which the waves crash, but it stands still and the raging of the sea falls still around it." That image, a rock in the middle of a storm, unafraid, unmoved, unbothered. There's a kind of power in calm that can't be faked, because it tells people you're not easily shaken. You're not someone they can rattle, manipulate, or control. And that's magnetic. We live in a world where people overreact constantly. A side glance becomes an insult. A text left on read becomes a crisis. Everyone is ready to explode. But what if you were the one who exhaled? Softly, steadily. You become the eye of the storm, not the whirlwind. Imagine walking into a chaotic room and saying nothing, yet everyone feels the shift. Because your calm is contagious. Ask yourself, what's louder, the person screaming for attention, or the one so centered they don't need to speak at all? Calm isn't weakness, it's strength under control, and it speaks volumes without raising its voice. Number 6, make your presence felt in absence. Sometimes, the most unforgettable presence is the one that isn't even in the room. You know the feeling, they're not there, but you still feel them. A glance at the door, a pause before you speak, a moment where your mind drifts back to them, and you don't even know why. This isn't magic, it's energy, it's intention, and the Stoics understood it well. Musonius Rufus taught that self-mastery meant knowing when to speak and when to step back, when to be present fully and when to withdraw quietly. Most people try to stay relevant by staying loud. They chase, they cling, they keep showing up, desperate not to be forgotten. But here's the truth. Absence, when intentional, creates space, and in that space, curiosity grows, desire sharpens, memory deepens. Think of the moon. It doesn't show up every night in full light, but when it disappears, you notice, you miss it. The key is not to vanish, to punish, not to disappear, to manipulate, but to step back, to protect your energy, to signal your worth, to let your silence speak what your presence doesn't need to shout. Ask yourself, when was the last time your absence held more weight than your presence? What if you trusted that being missed is sometimes more powerful than being constantly seen? Let the world wonder where you went, because your presence lingers, even in the quiet. Number 7, let others be seen around you. There's a kind of presence that doesn't steal the spotlight, but amplifies it. You've met someone like this. The moment you speak, they truly listen, not waiting for their turn, not trying to top your story, just there, fully, and suddenly you feel important, valued, even seen in a way that startles you. That's not a trick. That's wisdom. That's real magnetism. Aristotle once said, "We are social animals, drawn to those who help us flourish." It's easy to believe that to be admired, you have to impress, that to be remembered, you have to dazzle. But here's the truth. People are starved for presence, for reflection, for that rare space where they're not being judged or measured, but welcomed. Think of a mirror placed gently in the sun. It doesn't create the light, it reflects it. When you become the kind of person who makes others feel more themselves, they'll want to be around you, not because of how bright you shine, but because of how bright they feel in your presence. Ask yourself, do people feel seen after being with you? Or do they feel invisible? Let go of being the main character and become the space where others feel alive. Because the deepest kind of obsession isn't about who they're watching, it's about who they become when they're around you. Number 8, live by inner standards, not outer applause. There's a moment, a quiet, invisible line where you stop asking, how do they see me? And instead ask, do I respect me? That shift, it changes everything. You stop dressing for approval, stop speaking for validation, stop bending just to be liked, because now you're not performing, you're living by your compass. Socrates taught, the unexamined life is not worth living, but most people, they live the over-examined life, scrutinized not by themselves, but by the crowd, always asking, am I enough yet? Here's what Stoicism whispers to you. Your worth isn't determined by applause. It's forged in solitude, in the moments when no one's watching, but you still choose to be honest, to be decent, to be true. Imagine a river that flows from its own spring, never needing permission to keep moving forward. That's what you become when you live by inner standards, not swayed by trends, not shaken by disapproval, not molded by the moods of others. People are drawn to this kind of person, not because they say what's popular, but because they say what's true, and they live it. Ask yourself, what would your life look like if you stopped chasing applause? and started chasing integrity instead. Because when you do that, you stop being someone they admire and become someone they trust. And trust is where real obsession begins. So here you are, at the end of this journey, but maybe it's the beginning of something deeper. You've seen it now, that the most magnetic force you carry is not your charm, not your words, not your performance, but your stillness, the quiet inside you that doesn't beg to be noticed, but can't help being felt. And if you forget this, you'll return to the noise. You'll chase the eyes, the applause, the approval that always moves just out of reach. You'll shrink yourself to fit the molds of others and wonder why you still feel invisible. But when you remember, when you root yourself in presence, in calm, in your own quiet standards, you become undeniable, like a mountain resting under the sky, like fire that never asks to be admired, but still draws people in. You stop chasing connection and start becoming the kind of soul others long to be near. Ask yourself, who would I become if I stopped trying to be liked and started being real? Not louder, not flashier, just clearer, still, whole, true. That's the kind of presence that stays with people long after you've left the room. If this reflection stirred something in you, if you're ready to walk this quieter, deeper path, you already know what to do. Breathe, remember who you are, and walk forward without asking for permission. They'll feel you coming.